Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver now.
Good morning, Bix Weir, Rotorua.com with your morning horn of Z's, your sip of chaga coffee. All right, so many conspiracies going on. I don't know where to start, but I'm going to start here. Our friends over at Wall Street Silver interviewed the CEO of the Sunshine Mint. Now, what I want to say about this interview, and I'll read to you. I posted in the comments section. Now that I have my comments open, by the way, below this, you can place your comment. I post a comment in the comments section on the Wall Street Silver interview of Tom Power. David Morgan put together an interview with Tom Power to see if Tom Power can explain why there's a silver eagle shortage. He fell far short, by the way, obviously, but you need to watch that interview. It's at Wall Street Silver. What I want to say is, number one, going in, we all need to remember that this guy works for the U.S. Mint. So he's being put out there by the U.S. Mint. He had to get approval to do this from the U.S. Mint, from probably Janet Yellen. Why would Janet Yellen throw someone out there? It's the same thing that happened 2 years ago during the silver squeeze when Jeffrey Christian and Jeff Curry of Goldman Sachs came out and said, oh my God, there's no silver shortage. Silver shouldn't be over $30. And then Rustin Benham came out and said, oh, we tamped down the price of silver. Same type of thing. There's a huge problem at the U.S. Mint. So Tom Power, I mean, I respect that the Wall Street Silver guys treated him with kid gloves and, you know, he gave no answer, by the way. If you read the whole thing, the closest thing he can say is, well, you know, we're short on employees because of COVID. Are you kidding? It's the end of 2022. COVID's been over for a hell of a long time. So that excuse fell by the wayside. If you're a businessman, you pay your employees more to get more employees. And he was crying about these slim margins he has to work off. Excuse me, Tom, but do you know that somewhere in the line of from where the silver comes off the COMEX to where the retail buyer buys it for $35, there's massive amounts of margin to be made there. Why are you working off thin market margins? You have a customer, the U.S. Mint, that is required by law to pay literally whatever you charge for a silver blank. That is written into the law because all that cost is passed on to the buyer. So the $12 and $15 premium should not be at the authorized buyer position in that chain. It is, though, because you can't provide enough silver blanks to the U.S. Mint, or you won't, or something else is going on because you have a hell of a lot of silver and a massive facility. So here's the questions I ended up with. And it's still there. If you put on, look in the comment section and sort it by top comments because it's the most read one. 52 thumbs up, by the way, on my comment. Here's what I said. Glad you had him on, but the answers didn't address the issue at the U.S. Mint and only added more questions. Number one, if the U.S. Mint is your biggest customer and you have 75 million ounce blank production capacity, why did you only give the U.S. Mint 10 to 11 million ounces this year? Now, where I got the 10 to 11 million ounces, the Mint currently has only made 14.4 million ounces, but they have a lot of different providers. The Sunshine Mint is their largest provider. That's where I got somewhere around 10 to 11 million ounces. So he only provided them with 10 to 11 million blanks, okay? Number two, COVID is a very lame excuse for any company at the end of 2022. Obviously it is. There's no more COVID excuses. Number three, if you have 5 times the amount of silver in the warehouse, which he claimed, than you need for processing, whose silver is it? If he's doing 75 million, who is he processing for? And why do they have 5 times the amount they need in warehouse? That might just be a clarification of what he said. Number 4, does the U.S. Mint have stockpiles of 1,000-ounce bars just collecting dust while they still can't make silver eagles? That would be a good question. he's claiming it's not a silver problem. He says we have 5 times the amount of inventory we need. So he's claiming it's not a silver problem. So if it's not a silver problem, and he's claiming it's not his problem, other than he's short-staffed, which he shouldn't be, then what is the problem? The U.S. Mint should be clamoring at these guys. Hey, what are you doing over there at the Sunshine Mint that you can only give us 10 or 11 million ounces? What is the flaw in your business program? And you know what I hated at the beginning was he said, this is obviously it's a very business 101 type of problem. Well, business 101 says if you have massive more demand than supply out there, but you have all the supply, you should be charging more. Sunshine Mint should be charging a hell of a lot more for the blanks. And he was crying about later in the interview how they don't make much money, the razor thin margins, because the silver's owned by the person they're making the coins for. And he said, I think he said he didn't hedge, but they make their own coins too. So I'm like, wait. I know a lot of these things, I wish I was in on the discussion, but I understand. They wouldn't want me in there. This guy, Tom Power, he doesn't want the hard questions. But God bless him that he came out, but he had to get approval to come out and talk to the Wall Street Silver. I hope they can get him on again, because they were very respectful. They let him talk, but they didn't really dive deep into the reasons, because you have no reason. There is no reason. He says he has 5 times as much silver in his inventory. So he could be making all the silver eagles, the silver blanks he wants to make, up to 75 million a year. And the U.S. Mint, he says, is the largest customer. All right, moving on. So he talked about the U.S. Mint has a hedge book. I've been talking about this a long time, but we don't know who that hedge book is. Which bullion bank runs the hedge book for the U.S. Mint, because they claim to have very little inventory? So are those naked shorts? If the U.S. Mint has the hedge book currently open, and they take the short side, obviously, because they're the holder of the metal when they buy it, supposedly, right? But if they don't have the metal, then why do they have a hedge book? Those are all naked shorts. If they don't have the metal, they shouldn't have an open hedge book. That should be all shut down. Now remember, this guy, Tom, deals with 2 sides of the equation with the U.S. Mint. Number 1, he deals with the U.S. Mint procurement people. Number 2, he deals with where those bars come from, which is the bullion banks. The U.S. Mint uses these criminal bullion banks to get the silver into his warehouse. We knew this a long time ago. HSBC used to run that book. They got busted for doing criminal stuff, and I don't know who does it now. Probably J.P. Morgan, which is insanity, because the U.S. the U.S. government just came down on J.P. Morgan for rigging the silver market. But remember also, they're a buyer of silver. But if you read the Silver Eagle law, it's very clear. They are to make no profit on these sales. Only the cost shall be passed through. So he should, if he can't meet demand, which everybody agrees they can't meet demand. The U.S. Mint can't meet demand. Let's just say his margin tripled, which would probably be $2 over. They charge $2 over for every blank. How many blanks do you think Tom could, can you imagine $2, triple the size of your margins to make blanks? Any smart businessman, Mr. 101 business economics. I got to play that part. Because it pissed me off right off the bat. Listen to what he says. Okay. David goes into a slight introduction. I think it was right at the beginning.
It comes down to economics 101 and business 101. It's supply chain issues, demand issues. In the
Economics 101 and business 101. Economics 101 and business 101 says you don't piss off your customers. You don't piss off the U.S. Mint, and you don't piss off the bullion banks. Those are the people the people he's answering to. There's your business 101. And Tom, go out there and give an interview about why the U.S. Mint can't make even close to half of the silver eagles they're required by law to make. Now, Tom is not breaking the law. If he is colluding with the U.S. Mint to make sure that the U.S. citizens don't get enough silver eagles, then he is breaking the law, because clearly the U.S. Mint is breaking the law by not providing Silver Eagles to meet demand. So if he knows it, we've told him. This interview says, hey, you're not providing the Eagles to meet demand. Now, it would be tough to prove that the Sunshine Mint was in on it unless we subpoenaed all the emails and voice messages back and forth. Which, who knows, someday that might happen. But I wouldn't say that the Sunshine Mint, the law doesn't apply to the Sunshine Mint. As a matter of fact, the U.S. Mint is required by law to go everywhere in the world, anywhere in the world, at any time, to buy as much silver needed to cover demand. But he's just, this is the largest cog in that wheel. And he says he basically said, no, we can't do it because of COVID. Many factors. Business 101, up your prices. You can do it. You're making 75 million blanks a year, supposedly, according to you. And you're only giving the U.S. Mint a tiny fraction when they would be willing to buy all 75 million at triple your markup. They're required by law to do that, or find somebody else. Anyway, let's see, which hedge book? Number 6, blaming the retail dealers for premiums is just trying to point the finger away from the Sunshine Mint and the U.S. Mint. If you can't supply the blanks in enough quantities to meet demand, then the huge premiums are 100% the fault of the Sunshine Mint and the U.S. Mint. The U.S. Mint should bring this process in-house, absolutely. The U.S. Mint used to make their own blanks. Now, remember, the comics is saying there's plenty of silver. Don't worry about it. Look at the price. It's so low. Right? The U.S. Mint, so they're saying it's not a silver problem. The U.S. Mint used to make their own blanks. They probably still have the equipment, truthfully. And it's not hard to make that happen. And they should have made it happen years ago. But they aren't. Why aren't they? They're part of the manipulation of silver. Absolutely. All right, then I go on. The U.S. Mint should bring the entire process in-house, as it was in the past, and fire the Sunshine Mint for unacceptable performance. The answers he provided should just infuriate silver stackers more. We'd rather have the truth and not the spin, Tom, please. And there's all kinds. You can read the 11 replies. I've replied to some of them. People said, well, no, what about this? And I gave my best answers. For example, down here, Encrypt68 asked, simple, it is the authorized purchasers who control the silver they produce, not the U.S. Mint. That's not true, by the way. They only pre-sale those eagles before anything is produced. For the U.S. Mint, 100,000 eagles, you have to purchase an LBMA contract, pay for them their $2.99 premium, and the Mint places the order for the Sunshine Mint for the blanks. The biggest joke is A-Mark, they control the whole reseller market. That is not true, how this process. No, for the U.S. Mint, 100,000 eagles, you have to purchase an LBMA contract and pay them their $2.99 premium. No, you don't. The Mint purchases the contract. I don't know if it purchases the silver. They don't even have to purchase a contract. They can go right to delivery. Anyway, but it's the Mint that purchases the silver. The $2.99 premium, I don't think that's the premium that the authorized dealers pay. It might be. But remember, the U.S. Mint, it's illegal for the U.S. Mint to charge a profit on silver eagles. And it says that in the silver eagle law. It says, here's the sell price. You're going to charge the price of the silver, the price of processing the silver, and all the costs associated with marketing the silver. There's no profit in there. And that's in the law. If they want to change the law like they did before, that's fine, but they have not changed that law. There should be no profit at the U.S. Mint. So this guy's got his, issues mixed up here. And I said, Andy Scheckman has told us, and he's connected with all these guys, that the resellers can't get, the authorized resellers can't get the amount of silver eagles to meet demand. And what do? If you have a coveted product, you hang on to it. Yeah, most of the money is made by these authorized resellers because there's a shortage. If the U.S. Mint was kicking it out, they all compete with each other. if the U.S. Mint was kicking it out, millions of ounces a day, the price would go down. But they aren't. That's the key. They are not. There is more demand. There's been all year, there's been more demand for silver eagles than any other coin. And the U.S. Mint only made 14.5 million, 1/3 of their production capacity. So, I mean, there's 100 other reasons and questions I'd ask this guy, but I get it. They had to throw someone out there to calm the masses. I don't think they did with this. And just in case you guys want a good laugh, I posted the picture of the letter I got from Ventris Gibson, the director of the Mint. Now, it wasn't addressed to me personally. It was addressed to all their customers. But read this line in here. This came out in like June or July. This year, we significantly increased production quantities. Not capacity, but quantities. So they've made more silver eagles this year than any time in their history. This year, we significantly increased production quantities of one of our most popular coins, the American Eagle 1 ounce silver dollar, which will lead to broader availability to our customers. She said this back in June, and here we are nearing the end of the year when they're going to shut down for quote maintenance. And they've only made 14.5 million. They've only sold, I don't know how many they've made. I think they've made 10 times that in the background. But they've only sold 14.5 million. The premiums are off the charts. Sunshine Mint says, nothing to see here. Economics 101, Business 101, nothing to see here. If it was Business 101, the Sunshine Mint would be tripling their premiums on their blanks, quadrupling them to the U.S. Mint. You've got a buyer. You have a buyer that is required to buy from you by law and pay any price. Yes, they are required by law to pay any price. Because what is the fair market value of this specific specification and type of blank? It is whatever the highest bidder will pay for it. That's what fair market value, where do we live? A socialist country that you can't move your premium? Maybe there's a fixed contract. Do they sign 20-year contracts? You're going to pay over, X percent? Maybe they did. If they did, Business 101, Economics 101 says the U.S. Mint did something illegal because they're required to give it to their customers in quantities to meet demand. And if the U.S. Mint signed a contract like that, there it is. But he said they didn't. That's why they had to go out and get other customers. And apparently they went out and got too many other customers because he said, we have a lot of different people we need to supply silver blanks to. Let's cut out the middleman. Let's cut out the Sunshine Mint. Well, clearly they are only providing 10 million ounces, so it doesn't even matter. Sunshine Mint just claimed that, hey, it's not our fault. We don't provide hardly any silver blanks to the U.S. Mint, even though they're their largest provider. All of this stinks to high heaven. Ventris Gibson, by the way, has no idea how to run a mint. And she shouldn't. She's an HR professional, HR for 40 years. And they put her as the head of the U.S. Mint. Crazy. Anyway, buy your silver. Just get physical silver, get in your hands. It's going over $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $10,000. Name your price for silver. It hasn't been freely traded in over 170 years. And quickly onto our grand conspiracy in the crypto world these days. Another one, obviously set up by Gary Gensler and the guys at MIT. Gary Gensler's boss's daughter ran Alameda Research. If she doesn't go to jail, she won't go to jail. Jeffrey Epstein was known about for years and years and years and years, and he didn't go to jail. Remember, Gary Gensler was also tapped to be Hillary Clinton's head of Treasury. And now it is coming out. They just filed for bankruptcy. Sam Bankman-Fried resigns as CEO of FTX. FTX was pretty much co-owned with Alameda Research, which is run by Caroline Ellison, who is the daughter of Gary Gensler's boss at MIT. And who is Sam Bankman-Fried? Of course, the Democratic Party. Joe Biden announced his president on April 25th, 2019. Joe Biden announced his presidential campaign. 13 days later, on May 8th, 2019, Sam Bankman-Fried, son of Barbara Fried, the co-founder of the political funding organization Mind the Gap and Get Out the Vote organizations, including the Center for Voter Information, launches the FTX crypto exchange. This exchange is an overnight success that enables Sam to become the second biggest donor to the Biden campaign. You can't make this shit up. Really makes you think. Ms. Fried launched this totally grassroots Democratic PAC in July 2018. Wonder how you're going to raise enough funds to make a difference. Son coincidentally becomes a multimillionaire, and a few months later, sometimes things just have a way of working out. There you go. That's how deep the corruption goes within the United States of America, in their government, in our banking system. It is knee-deep everywhere. Everywhere. And another great article, the truth will come out. It always does. Bankman-Fried's cabal of roommates, all MIT grads except one, Caroline Ellison, didn't go to MIT because her dad was the head of economics, and you don't want that to. And there's no doubt she's a math genius. Where'd she go? She went to Stanford, where his dad ran a department, a senior professor. I think it was a legal department. This is so deep and so corrupt. The deep state, I mean, literally, they're in the universities, they're in the cryptos, they're in the banking cabal, they're in the government, they're everywhere. Savoir-faire is everywhere. Shocking is the word that aptly describes the rapid fall of Sam Bankman-Fried's crypto empire. No, it's not shocking. Why do you think Gary Gensler and Glenn Ellison, the father of Caroline Ellison, set this thing up? They set it up to crash, to get everybody to invest in, like, oh my God, I'm making so much return by parking my Bitcoin with these guys, or leveraging up. It's just insane. Not your keys, not your coins. How many times have we screamed that? Not your keys, not your coins. To a surprising degree, it's a sentiment that pours out from people who worked for him, people who you'd think would have a clue. How can it be? It may have been something to do with the luxury penthouse in the Bahamas. That's where 30-year-old Bankman-Fried is roommates within the inner circle who ran the now struggling crypto exchange and trading giant Alameda Research. Many are co-workers from the quantitative trading firm Jane Street. Others he met at MIT, his alma mater, where Gary Gensler taught cryptos. All 10 are, or used to be, paired up in romantic relationships with each other. That includes the Alameda CEO, Caroline Ellison. Caroline Ellison's father was Gary Gensler's boss, whose firm played a central role in the company's collapse and who, at times, has dated Bankman-Fried, according to people familiar with the matter. This is a sick bunch of, wait till it gets to the, how the connection between Jeffrey Epstein. It'll happen. I don't know. I haven't followed that track. I usually get in trouble when I follow that track. I have a cease and desist letter when it gets down to the crypto cabal, dark and dirty, so I'm not going to go there. You guys do your own research. I'm sure it'll come out. Woo, lots going on. The world is crazy. Conspiracy, and conspiracies are real, my friends. Conspiracies are real. Yes, I do think we are on track to run out of silver by the end of the year. So get your physical silver in your own possession. The U.S. Mint is going to stop making silver eagles any day now. They might even make the announcement. They pretty much stopped 18 months ago, or at least a year ago, when the head of HR was promoted to the head of the Mint, Ventris Gibson. Anyway, keep going, my friends. Protect yourself. Get your cryptos in your own wallet and ride this shit out. If you don't have cryptos, great time to buy cryptos. You can get Theta for under $1 right now. At least last time I looked yesterday. Those cryptos, the good cryptos, are the future. And if you buy any cryptos, get yourself some Veritasium. You won't need much because Veritasium is going higher than the price of Bitcoin. Even one Veritasium could save your ass. Reggie Middleton has the patent on everything these guys were doing over at FTX. Will Reggie allow the other tokens that are out there, the 2 million Veritasium tokens, to be used in his system? He said he would. I trust Reggie. But he's going to get those 98 million back, I believe, from when the corruption within the SEC is exposed. Here we have Gary Gensler, the same guy who ran the CFTC when JP Morgan was ripping off the people. Now he's running the SEC, set up a Ponzi scheme, set up an entrapment situation where he can get people to put their money in. He can crash the whole system knowing it's a Ponzi scheme, allowed it to happen, put his people in charge of it, his MIT crowd in charge of it, pulled the plug, and now he's going to come say, hey, I can save you poor citizens from the ravages of manipulation. Absolutely, I can do it. You see how much you lost on FTX and Alameda Research? It was his doing. Now he's going to say, we need regulation. These criminals have no shame. They should be in jail tomorrow. Gary Gensler, I want to see every single email you ever sent to any of these people. Watch the Gary Gensler MIT lectures where he talks about, at MIT, he lectured on cryptocurrencies. It's on YouTube. He talked about, hey, the only way to survive in cryptos is if you give the banking cabal like a big chunk of what you do. And he promoted doing that. And there you have, that's exactly what happened here with these guys, Blankman-Fried and all that. The banks and the companies, BlackRock's in there that invested in this thing and took it all down. Gary Gensler has no friends these days, by the way, once they find this shit out. You want more information, go to roadtoruin.com. Jenny was dealing with a hurricane today, yesterday, so we couldn't do our interview. We'll be back. We'll be going all the way down the deep rabbit hole with this young woman. Yes, that's what Caroline Pham looks like. She looks like a 12-year-old. She's not. She's in her 30s, probably 31 or 30. But that's the deep state, my friends. Keep an eye on it. I'll talk to you.